everyone and welcome to the FinancialFox. This is Steffi and today with me is Barney Chambers from Umbria Network. I'm going to have a quick chat with Barney about Arbitrum and then I will share an interview I had with Steven Goldfeder, co-founder and chief executive officer at Offchain Labs, the team building the Arbitrum chain. Hi Barney, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you, Steffi?
Yeah, I'm fine. So, listen, today we are going to be talking about Arbitrum. I'm going to share an interview I had with Steven, the CEO of Chain Labs. They built the Arbitrum chain. But, you, with Umbria, you have implemented a bridge to Arbitrum. And I just wanted to, to see why Arbitrum? What's cool about Arbitrum, really?
Yeah, so Arbitrum is a new roll-up solution for Ethereum, and it's gained a lot of popularity recently. They're doing a lot of interesting things with their architecture. And so we've seen in the community that people have really started to take an interest in the Arbitrum blockchain and are really needing some good solutions for bridging their assets over from Ethereum into Arbitrum. And at Umbria, our philosophy has always been building bridges that our community are asking for makes Umbria the most useful piece of technology that it can be. And so now that we're seeing that so many people are getting interested in the Arbitrum technology, we've decided to implement our own bridge between Ethereum and Arbitrum. And so far, it's been very popular and it's facilitating cheap and fast bridging between those two blockchains.
They also have the biggest total value lock for roll-ups, which is quite impressive in just in 1 year, how big network power they actually managed to create.
Yeah, and a lot of decentralized applications are moving over to Arbitrum. There are a lot of interesting developments going on that chain. A lot of DeFi platforms are deciding to use Arbitrum as their main blockchain to host all of their infrastructure. And I think one of the main reasons is because now that they've implemented a few new features to their chain, like with Arbitrum Nova and things like that, you're able to handle a lot of throughput on that particular blockchain. And so that opens the doors to a few interesting applications that you could build on that blockchain that you might not be able to build on something like Ethereum because it's too expensive or too slow.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, Barney, thank you for that. And let's get into the interview with Steven.
Thank you very
much. Hi, Steven. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, it's very exciting to have you on the show because there is a lot to talk about with the Ethereum Merge upcoming and all the questions about Ethereum scalability, but also the update on Arbitrum as well. That's something very exciting to discuss. So shall we maybe start with a quick introduction of yourself for the people that don't know who you are, and then we just go straight into what is Arbitrum and what technology is using to scale Ethereum?
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm Steven Goldfeder. I am the co-founder and CEO of Offchain Labs, which is the team that's building Arbitrum. I've been in the crypto space for about almost a decade now, which is kind of crazy to hear me say that. I started off doing research at Princeton, and actually Arbitrum has roots to Princeton. We published, before the company existed, we researched Arbitrum and published a paper at Princeton about scaling smart contracts. And here we are today, 4 years into the company, and we are providing scaling solutions for Ethereum. We have many applications building on us and providing secure scaling solutions. So security without compromise, giving users high capacity, low bandwidth, high capacity, high bandwidth, low cost transactions secured by Ethereum, and that's what we are doing today and continuing to do that. And happy to get into the details.
So you are basically the leading roll-up in terms of total value locked. And that's quite a big achievement. And what I want you to understand is that how is different Arbitrum technology, for example, other layer 2, or we can also bring in sidechain as well, because the conversation is always about different kind of way to scale Ethereum, and it would be nice to give us some clarity as well on the other solution available.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different solutions out there, and really it's a pretty wide space, and there's a lot of room for experimentation. So I'll tell you like the core core points of what Arbitrum offers, and hopefully that will show how it might differentiate from others. Number one, we have security. Our security is derived from Ethereum. You mentioned that we are a roll-up. So Arbitrum 1 is a roll-up chain. That is the leading roll-up chain today. And the security is derived from Ethereum. It's a fully implemented rollup. It's in beta mode now, so there are still some controls, but fundamentally the technology is fully built out and built out to derive its security from Ethereum, in the long term. And that differs, and so that's number one. Is we're secured by Ethereum, which already makes us different from a lot of solutions that are not secured by Ethereum. You might have heard the term sidechains or alternative layer ones that have their own consensus mechanism. Arbitrum doesn't have its own consensus mechanism. It doesn't have miners or other proof of stake participants. It just gets the security, gets the consensus from Ethereum. That's number one. Number two is cost. Arbitrum is very, very low cost. Particularly last week, we did a big upgrade to our network, the Nitro upgrade, and now our costs are slashed even lower. Arbitrum 1 costs are really the lowest of any general purpose rollup. And number three is compatibility. There is no rollup more compatible with Ethereum, the EVM, which is the Ethereum virtual machine, and Ethereum tooling than Arbitrum. So if you're an Ethereum developer or an Ethereum user, everything that you know from Ethereum, that means how to write apps, the tooling that you use like Chainlink or Alchemy, Infura, Etherscan, most of it is deployed in Arbitrum. It all works right out of the box with Arbitrum. Even developer tools like, say, Tenderly, all are fully compatible with Arbitrum. And that's really, those are the three tenets of what Arbitrum offers. Number one is high security. Number two is full compatibility. And number three is doing that with extremely low costs and also high bandwidth. So now, without getting into specifics, where do other solutions differ on those spectrums? Some compromise more on security and they're not fully secured by Ethereum. Others are earlier on in their development cycles and not fully developed yet. And others, potentially are higher cost and use other sorts of technology. But I think the one thing I can say it's unique to Arbitrum. We are the only general purpose rollup. So general purpose meaning that you can launch any arbitrary contracts, like any EVM contract. So that's not the full statement though. We are the only general purpose rollup that's fully built out today. There are others that are working on their designs that have some really, really exciting designs that they're working on. But today there is only one fully implemented general purpose rollup that supports smart contracts, and that's Arbitrum 1.
Wow, brilliant. Tell me a bit more about the Nitro upgrade.
Definitely. So the Nitro upgrade was a really big milestone for our team. Actually, it was launched on the 1-year anniversary of the public opening of Arbitrum 1. So a really nice birthday present for our network and our users, and something we've been working on for just about from a year back. When we actually launched the other one, we're back to the drawing board working on the Nitro upgrade. So there are a few ways to think about what the Nitro upgrade does. From a user perspective, I think most users are super excited about two things. One, fees went down significantly and users took note of this immediately. And number two, the capacity of the network went up as well. And what that means is the point of congestion, or when prices will go up, is much will be more delayed, and it doesn't happen as frequently. And that's something which is really exciting. And that's scale. Scale is the combination of low fees, but also high bandwidth and the capacity to have many transactions at those low fees. So that's something that happened with the Nitro upgrade. Looking under the hood from a developer perspective, what also happened was it became a lot easier to run a node in Arbitrum. The requirements to run a node, we've heard from some of our node partners that run nodes and provide RPC services, that their computation, their usage went way down with an Nitro upgrade, so it's a lot less resource intensive, and also it's even more compatible. Arbitrum Nitro is the most compatible that you can be with Ethereum, with EVM. Sometimes people like to use the word EVM equivalent. We are as close to the EVM as possible from a developer and a user perspective, and so I think both developers and users really got really, really exciting updates with the Nitro upgrade, and it's probably see those benefits immediately.
Wow, that's quite interesting. In an interview with Bankless, you mentioned about 7x, and I wanted to bring it up because it's a big number, and if you combine that also with the Nova chain, then you can be 14x. I mean, this is like some numbers that I picked up, and I want you to kind of discuss them and maybe explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So the old pre-Nitro Arbitrum 1 was running roughly at the same capacity as Ethereum. Once we did the Nitro upgrade, we 7x that capacity. So now we have 7 million gas per second of capacity, which is about 7 times what Ethereum offers. And we also have that on Arbitrum Nova. So I didn't talk much about Nova, so let me just mention what that is. Arbitrum Nova is built on the AnyTrust technology. So we have Arbitrum 1, which is a roll-up chain, Arbitrum Nova, which is AnyTrust. AnyTrust is a technology stack that we introduced. It's similar to rollup, except for it doesn't put all the data on Ethereum. It uses a data availability committee. It uses a committee to send that data. And the committee that we launched with is super strong and includes the like of us, Reddit, Google Cloud, Consensus, P2P, and QuickNode are all part of that committee. So a really, really high-powered committee that we're very, very excited to work with. And basically, instead of all the data going on Ethereum, you send the data to the committee. And it turns out that even post-Nitro, the majority of the costs on Arbitrum 1 and a rollup are sending the data to Ethereum. And there's a reason to do that. That's the most secure that you can do. But the question was, hey, there are applications there that don't have the luxury. They need even lower fees. And they're not saying, hey, should I put my data on Arbitrum 1 or should I, or not? They're saying, I can't use use Ethereum or Arbitrum 1. So they were going to other alternative solutions that were less secure. So we said, hey, can we have a highly secure solution that's compatible for gaming and social applications, things that applications that touch the blockchain very frequently and have a really high degree of transactions. That's why we launched Arbitrum Nova, built on our AnyTrust technology. And on day one of our launch, Reddit announced that they launched their community points on Arbitrum Nova. So a really, really highly anticipated and exciting launch, along with many other projects that are live on Nova today. But that's definitely a very, very exciting milestone, the Reddit launch. And so yeah, as you mentioned, between Nova and Arbitrum 1, we have each of them are running at about 7 million gas per second, which is about 7x the capacity of Ethereum. So if you combine those two, we have about 14x the capacity of Ethereum on those two chains.
Wow. Listen, I want to kind of share a little bit of insight about the Arbitrum ecosystem. So who is building on? Because that's quite an important aspect of how you are developing a network power that can challenge, chain like Ethereum, Polygon, and so forth.
Arbitrum 1 is the DeFi home today for many applications, and we're seeing extreme DeFi innovation in Arbitrum 1. So that includes Ethereum, big Ethereum DeFi projects, DeFi projects like Uniswap, SushiSwap, Curve, Aave, Maker, Yearn. All of these projects are deployed in Arbitrum 1, and then a new wave of projects. GMX is built on Arbitrum 1, as well as others like Dopex, Premia, Vesta. A lot of really, really strong DeFi projects and a lot of strong DeFi innovation happening on Arbitrum 1. And we're seeing really, a ton of new projects coming on every day, because one of the beautiful things about DeFi is the synergies of working on the same chain as someone else, these synchronous calls, as they say, the idea that one DeFi app can call to another, or I as a user can do a transaction in which in the same transaction I say take out a loan on Aave and deposit that in some other app. And we're seeing a really, really strong ecosystem build up around DeFi and an incredible amount of DeFi innovation. I think it's fair to say that just about every DeFi project on Ethereum is on Arbitrum today, more or less, give or take a few, but it's definitely becoming the stronghold for DeFi projects. There are also some really strong NFT projects on Arbitrum 1. Probably the most notable is the Treasure DAO and their marketplace and their collections, really, really strong collections, and also many others as well alongside them. Arbitrum Nova is targeted at social and gaming, and A lot of projects are starting to launch on there. Most notably is the one we mentioned, which is the Reddit launch, which is there as well. But you also have some supportive DeFi infrastructure. For example, Sushi is live on Arbitrum Nova because there are these tokens, there are these gaming tokens, and users want to exchange those tokens. So it's not DeFi for DeFi, right? The DeFi innovation is happening on Arbitrum 1, but on any chain that you have tokens and activity, you're going to want to have basic DeFi to be able to exchange those tokens and do things with those tokens.
Wow, so kind of like the point is to create an ecosystem where people can basically call dApps easily, and that's a great goal. But at the same time, interoperability is still a challenge. So you have a user, they have to move assets between one chain to the other, from and that is something that you have been thinking about. You have got a bridge, but maybe tell me a little bit about what are the bridging challenges right now. Bridging is a big part of the crypto infrastructure, and it's something that we should all talk about it, and it's not talk enough.
Absolutely. And one of the nice things about a rollup in general is that the bridge is part of the core protocol. So what that means is often you'll have bridges that have separate security assumptions, or that they the bridge is more custodial, where you sort of send your money to a centralized party or some contract, depending on the bridge design. Some are more centralized, some are more decentralized, but often they come with their own set of assumptions. In a rollup, the core protocol secures the bridge, which is very, very nice. And Arbitrum is built on Ethereum, so the bridge between Arbitrum 1 and Ethereum, and even Arbitrum Nova on Ethereum, is very, very closely related and really secured by the protocol itself. One of the drawbacks of an optimistic rollup, so Arbitrum 1 is an optimistic rollup. One of the drawbacks of an optimistic rollup is the delay period to withdraw. But thankfully, we have many third-party bridges that are making that obsolete for users. So if you're not familiar, if you use the native bridge, it takes about a week to get your funds off the rollup back to Ethereum. But then there are bridges like Hop and Connext and Seller and many others that allow you to.
Umbria network as well. I know that I work with the project, and they are integrated with Arbitrum and.
Oh yes, yeah, and actually, the best place, because I'm never going to be. I'm always going to accidentally leave someone else. I should say the best place is to go to portal.arbitrum.io or portal.arbitrum.one. And yeah, you can see all of the fast bridging experiences that exist on Arbitrum. And there are many, many really, really great ones as you alluded to. So those allow you to basically get your funds off much more quickly. These fast bridging experiences, which is for many users desirable. And then there's also centralized exchanges, by the way, which also sort of serve as bridges, right? So Binance, for example, FTX, Crypto.com, OKX, Huobi, many exchanges support Arbitrum 1 today. And what that means is basically you can say, hey, if you say you're an FTX user, you say, hey, I have an ETH on Arbitrum 1. I'm going to deposit it in FTX. And now I can withdraw that ETH to Ethereum. So essentially, the centralized exchange becomes a bridge. You can use it as a bridge by going via the centralized exchange. Obviously, it's a centralized bridge, but for many users, that's exactly what they're looking for. So there's really you have the gamut of bridging options to Arbitrum. But to your point, there are different networks. Arbitrum 1 and Arbitrum Nova are different networks, and the way that you go back and forth is via a bridge. The way you go back and forth to Ethereum is via a bridge. And you don't have those synchronous calls. And that's why, it's so important to have, when we say we up the capacity of Arbitrum 1, to 7x, that's why it's really nice to have that increased capacity, because the more you can do on one chain, the more you can have these synchronous experiences and have, having DeFi not fragmented, but having all the DeFi options that you want on one chain is important. And that's why we also separate based on use case. So we don't want to have half of DeFi in Arbitrum 1 and half of DeFi in Arbitrum Nova. Obviously, people are free to go wherever they want. But in terms of where we encourage developers, we say, hey, if you're doing DeFi, you should probably go in Arbitrum 1. If you're looking to be a game and a social if you're a game and social application and looking to be part of those communities and looking to be synchronous with them, you should probably go in Arbitrum Nova.
Yeah, like multiple chain for different purposes.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean you'll never have to bridge from one to the other, but keeping, them silo to, most of the DeFi activity is here, the gaming activity is here. Users that are interested in one or the other will have a much less frequent bridging experience.
Yeah, definitely. So finally, I just want to take your get your take on the merge, because everybody's talking about is the biggest, challenge. Everything seems is going smoothly, but what are the implications of the merge on Arbitrum and on other chains in the Ethereum ecosystem?
So we're incredibly excited for the merge. It's been a long time coming, and a lot of really amazing work and amazing research went into this. And I think it's really a nice balance where Ethereum has the ability to innovate itself, but does so very thoughtfully and has really great people working on it. So we're very excited for the merge. In terms of roll-up, so the merge is basically like if you lift the hood of Ethereum, how Ethereum gets consensus, that's how the merge is changing. We're going from a proof of work system to a proof of stake system. But the nice thing is, even though Arbitrum is secured by Ethereum and uses Ethereum's consensus, but it doesn't do that directly by engaging in the proof of stake or proof of work protocol. It does that by a smart contract, right? So there's a smart contract on Ethereum, which is the referee for Arbitrum, which tracks the state of Arbitrum and arbitrates any disputes that happen between validators, and all that happens in a smart contract on Ethereum. So it's getting its consensus from Ethereum's consensus, but it's doing that via the smart contract layer. And the nice thing is the smart contract layer is not changing during the merge. So it's going to be very smooth. So how Ethereum nodes get consensus on the state of a smart contract is changing. But if you're a system like Arbitrum that's built on top of Ethereum, we're driving the car. Even though the engine's changing, it doesn't really matter for us, and it should be very smooth. The nice thing, though, is because we use Ethereum's consensus, we have whatever properties that consensus has, our system inherits. So, for example, when we move from proof of work to proof of stake, and this becomes more environmentally friendly and has less of a negative environmental impact, we gain those benefits as well. Now Arbitrum just automatically becomes more environmentally friendly as well. So we get to reap all the benefits, but the system should continue to operate really seamlessly. And we're very much looking forward to it, and we don't expect downtime or anything like that.
Fantastic. Listen, talking about challenges, regulation is a big thing right now as more institutions are coming to the space. Most are also excited about the merge because of this sustainability aspect. Regulation is pushing, and I just would like to put the question to you. What's your feel about regulation? How important is actually to take in place?
Yeah, I think crypto is a very early industry, and naturally there's times where as every industry, regulation sort of catches up with the industry. So I think fundamentally conversations between protocols and regulators, a lot of times regulators are looking to separate protect users from bad actors, and there's certainly in every industry there are good folks and bad folks. I think the trick is really having those engagement and conversations and allowing regulators to do their work to separate the bad actors, but not mix up the good actors and the bad actors is something that's really important. So I don't think that I think that it's an early industry and there's a lot of learning to be done all around. But like any other tool, I don't think regulation is good or bad in and of itself. Regulation is obviously useful for keeping out bad actors, but identifying who those bad actors are is definitely a conversation that needs to happen, and engaging. I think but as the industry grows, I think that will happen hopefully relatively naturally.
Yeah, if we can start to get more regulators on board and actually understanding the technology. But yeah, completely agree with you. Listen, what's up next for Arbitrum? What you're working on?
Yeah, so one thing, it's funny, I mentioned earlier that we just launched Arbitrum Nitro on the 1-year anniversary of our chain, but that's not something which we decided to do a week in advance, right? We planted the seeds for that a year earlier. Literally, if you look at the Arbitrum Nitro GitHub repository, you'll see that 8 days after the launch of Arbitrum last year, we started working on this Nitro repository. And similarly, we have a lot of other tricks up our sleeves and research and development projects that says, okay, so we 7x. Can we 7x again? Can we make the user experience even better? Can we make onboarding better? Can we make bridging better? We're back to the drawing board again. We're very happy with where we are today, but we're also constantly asking ourselves, what can we do better? How can we reinvent ourselves? And you know what? If you would have asked me 2 years ago, is a Nitro design possible? I would have said, no, it's not possible. We don't know how to do this. And similarly, as we grow, as we expand our knowledge and our team and our community, we are increasing our understanding of the limits and what we can do with rollups. And I think it's only going to get better over time. And we are front and center saying, how can we make this even better for users? So, it might take some time before the next Nitro upgrade happens, or whatever we call that. But you can rest assured that we're still working on many, many initiatives to make the system better for users. Some will be, big steps like Nitro. Some will be small steps, but they're all, I think, will get us towards the goal of onboarding more users to an easy and seamless ecosystem.
Seamless user experience,
exactly.
To get more adoption. Steven, it's been a fantastic opportunity, a fantastic chat to kind of go through all this point together. So anybody that doesn't know Arbitrum, want to try Arbitrum, want to find out more, want to get in touch with you, where should I go?
Great question. So we have our Twitter account is a great Twitter, the @Arbitrum Twitter account is a great place to learn about what's happening in the ecosystem, learn about who we're doing launches with, etc. We also host AMAs, and there are opportunities for people to get involved and ask questions and hopefully get answers. Discord is another good resource. Our Discord is a very, very strong and vibrant community where users that don't only want to listen and get the information, but want to really participate in the community, ask, maybe answer other people's questions. So I'd encourage people to go on the Arbitrum Discord as well. And we are also hiring. So go to our website, offchainlabs.com, and submit an application if you think you can help. We're hiring really for just about every position. So it's not just developers that we need. It's a new industry, and there's a ton of really, really great opportunities. And, if you have a strong skill set, we want to talk to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Steven.
Thank you for having me.